So great that we got part of our site up, but we have some issues. One is that we're missing static. The other one is that, for example, let's say I go to the name of my website /eggs, which we have no URL path for eggs. If I hit enter, I get some bad news here. I get this 404 not found page. And this is not something that we would want on our actual website, because this kind of shows some of the code behind our project. Like if someone were to do this, they could see all the different paths that we have. And then also if there's any type of error, it's going to show all the details of the error and actual lines of our code. Like imagine our code at some point is going to connect with some service, like maybe an emailing service. And there we have to have some API keys. And we display some sort of error when something goes wrong, and a user could maybe find the API keys that we use for that email service and then go out and use it or whatever. Like this is not a good situation. And the reason that all these detailed errors are showing up, they're really good when we're making our website, but not good when we're in production, is because we have an option in our settings set to debug. So we need to go and fix that. So let's go ahead and move back to the web dashboard here. I'm going to, in a new tab, open up the directory. This can be our tab where we basically just work on the site. So I'm going to go to Personal Portfolio, then I'm going to move into Settings. Okay. And here, this debug equals true. I'm going to change this to now say debug equals false. And I'm going to save that. Okay. So now that we have that up and running, okay, I'm going to save this. And then let's go back and reload this. I want to show you that this error page is going to be a whole lot better. So now when it does this, it says not found. This is not the prettiest thing in the world. We can actually go and create our own custom 404 not found page. But for the time being, this is better than showing all of our details. So we've got that under control. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to work on being able to show our static files. And the first thing that we have to do is go back to our settings. We're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here. And when the media root, we had specified this is where we want to store all of our media files, we have to do the same thing for static. So when you're deploying your project live, you may have static folders in each of your different apps. Like there might be one inside of the blog and there might be one inside of the portfolio, but you need to have a way to take all of those and put them in one central location so that you can serve those all from one place. And we have to specify where we want that to be. Now, I like to keep things really simple. I'm just going to copy the same line for media root, and I'm going to paste it right below static URL, change it to be all caps static_root. And I'm also going to change this text here to say lowercase static. So I'm just saying, hey, let's make a folder in the base directory called static that will go ahead and show all of this, okay? So once I've specified the static root, I'm going to go ahead and save this file. All right, the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to move over to the bash console here. And I'm going to do an ls, make sure that I'm in the correct place with the manage.py. And I'm going to type out python manage.py and then all one word, collect static. Okay? And what this does is it takes all the different static files and folders and puts them in all one central location, which you can see here is it moved everything to the name of our project /static. And the reason it put it in that spot is because we just specified here that that's where we wanted it to go. Like if I had changed this to say eggs, I love using the example of eggs, this would have all put it in a folder called eggs. Okay, so that's what that's about. And if you want to go see what this looks like, let's see if we can go ahead and go back. So I'm going to go to the personal portfolio and look at this. We now have a folder called static. And look, there's the stuff from our portfolio inside of here. But also admin, they have their own static files that they're working with, and those are showing up. So just moving that folder there is not enough for us though, because we have that there, but we need to now go specify and show our site where it is that we can find those. Like with Python Anywhere, we have to specify that we want to display those. So the reason for this is that the Python or the Django project doesn't want you to necessarily be serving your own static files. The real ideal situation is that you have them on some service like AWS or I think DigitalOcean also has their own version of file storage, but basically a place that can handle serving files all the time. The problem is if you usually have them on the same server, sometimes that can really slow down things if people are trying to get lots of files, especially if you're hosting like a podcast or some videos that have really big files. But anyways, those are concerns to worry about once your website gets really big and you notice slowdown. Most of the time, that's not going to be an issue. And Python Anywhere will actually handle serving these in the correct way. So what we need to do is scroll down here to where we get to static files, and we need to specify where we're going to show these static files. So here under URL, we're going to go ahead and put /static/. So this is saying anytime someone on our website goes to /static/, where should we send them? And then the answer is we're going to enter a path here that they should be going to where our static files are. Now, in order to find that, let's go ahead and go back to our project here. I'm going to do an ls and I'm going to cd into static. Okay, and then I'm going to do that pwd. This will give us the full path here. So I'm going to copy this, come back to the project, paste this in. Okay, so now anytime someone goes to our website /static, it'll load the files from here. Okay, so once that's in place, I'm going to go ahead and reload this. Okay, so what should happen is now we should be able to see all our different pieces there. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page, and look at that. We have all of our static files up here showing. Isn't that excellent? So cool. Okay. Now, everything looks awesome, but it's actually not that great, because if we go ahead and do a full reload, like if you do a Command-Shift-R, which on Chrome is like the, really reload, like re-download all the files, you'll notice that now the media files aren't working. The only reason they were showing up for a second before was that they were in the cache. So when you're in debug equals true, it'll automatically show your media files for you. And I think technically it can do your static if you're running it locally. But anyways, our media is not working now. But the fix for this is super simple. If you notice, if we go back to our project, and I guess I could even show you here, right? Like inside of our project, we have the media folder, just like we have a static folder. And so we just have to specify that here. So we're going to scroll down, enter in another URL. So this is going to be /media/, and then as far as the path goes, I'm going to copy what we had up here and paste that in and change it just from static to media. Okay. So with that in place, again, we're going to do the reload here to sort of refresh everything. And now if we reload our home page, both the static and the media files are showing up for us. So there's a couple of details here that I want to talk about. The first one is that you'll notice our site here, it tells us up at the top that this is not secure. That basically means that this is an HTTP site, not HTTPS. The thing is, we can do this if we specify HTTPS://. Python Anywhere does all the magic of serving up that for you with HTTPS, which is pretty awesome. If you want to, you can go to web, and if we scroll down, we can specify to force HTTPS, which means if someone goes to your website and doesn't specify that they just want the regular or the S, it will do that for them. So I recommend this. So let's go ahead and switch this on and reload here. So now, next time I go to Nick Walter, Python Anywhere, it will reload to always go to HTTPS. Kind of a cool thing there. The next thing is, and this is where things are really going to come into play here, is if I do my /admin, because I might say, oh, I want to go add a new blog post, I can log in here, but the thing you have to realize is this is live on the internet. Anybody that goes to your project /admin and knows your username and password or can guess it, can change everything inside your database. They could go to your blogs and say, I'm going to select everything and delete them. Now, I'm not going to do that, but it just kind of shows you that like once this is live, like you've really got to make sure you have picked a good password. So again, if you need to go and change that password, you can do that via the command line. Just go ahead and Google Django change super user password. And really it's just code to change it for any user. Yeah, you need to be aware that that's live for everyone to go see. Now the next bit is that the database that we are using is just the standard SQLite 3 database that comes when you open a new project. Now, this is usually only meant for development. When you move to production, you're supposed to move to a more robust database, something like Postgres or MySQL or MariaDB. That's new support for that in Django 3. But that's really only an issue once you have a database that has lots of different items and you're making lots of queries against it. And so you may be wondering, like, when should I do the switch? In my opinion, do the switch when you notice your website starting to slow down, or if you have issues, or if you're just really bored and need something to do. So if you want to do that on Python Anywhere, go ahead and click on this link here called Databases. Now, with the free tier, you can create a MySQL database, and essentially what you do is you set a password for it, and it's going to then specify a username, what port it's running on, and then if you Google Django MySQL, there's going to be all sorts of tutorials showing you how to get it set up, so you can go ahead and do that. If you want to do Postgres, you have to. That's a paid upgrade, so you may be saying, what's the difference? At least from what I've read and understood, Postgres is a little bit more stable, beefy than MySQL, but honestly, I don't think the difference between these things are going to make much of a difference until you get like hundreds and thousands and millions of visitors to your website. Like even, I personally think your MySQL 3 database is going to be just fine for your website. Like you should have absolutely zero issues. But anyways, I just wanted you to tell you how you could move this forward if you wanted to. Okay, so really awesome. We could go ahead and just stop here with what we have. I mean, our website is live on the internet. You can share this link with whoever you'd like. You can keep adding blog posts. But in my opinion, there's two more things that I think would really make this great. One, what happens if we want to make some changes? Not like database changes, like add a new blog post or add a new portfolio project or something like that. No, what if I actually want to like change the text that's here, or I'm going to do an all new layout and theming and stuff like that? If I have changes to my code, how do I apply that? There's a process that I think makes it a lot easier for you than kind of going through everything that we just did. And then the other question is, this is a nice URL, especially for free, but what if you want to have it so that people could go to like nickwalter.com and see my website? Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get nickwalter.com. I have nickwalter.info, which is like almost okay, but it's not as great. Regardless, let's go ahead and talk about that in the next one.